Episode 3.
Are you ready to take your eBay business to the top? Well, if so, buckle up and hold on. It's time once again for So You Want to Sell on eBay with your hosts, Ron LeBeau and Ali Young.
Creating an eBay store these days is not that difficult a task. Creating a custom eBay store is. So if you're thinking of starting an eBay business, or even if you're a titanium power seller, let the professional team at AuctionProTemplates.com create a custom eBay store for you.
Welcome once again to another episode of So You Want to Sell on eBay. I'm Ron LeBeau.
And I'm Ali Young.
All right, everyone, let's get started. I'm simply thrilled to introduce to you our very special guest today, Nick Molnar. Great to have you with us, Nick.
Yeah, great you could join us today, Nick. Really is.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Nick Molnar launched leading American online jeweler ICE.com in Australia in December 2012 under the local brand iceonline.com.au. Prior to launching ICE in Australia and New Zealand, Nick was an investment analyst for one of Australia's largest venture capitalist funds, Carnegie Co. Having developed a critical understanding of Australian retail and consumer landscape, Nick recognized a significant gap in the Australian market, the ability to purchase quality jewelry at affordable prices as per the ICE legacy. By introducing ICE to Australia, marking the first international expansion, Nick was able to satisfy this market gap and redefine the jewelry landscape in Australia. Nick, I've given our listeners an overview of you, but they want to see more. Before we dive in, though, let's find out a little bit more about you personally. Our listeners want to know anything and everything you'd like to share about you. It could be family, hobbies, or just anything.
Sure. So I guess I always had a fond drive for business from a young age, all the way through university. Loved playing sport, loved skiing, used to play rugby at a pretty high standard, but always had a drive for buying something for X and I guess selling it for Y, which is why I stumbled on eBay for the better and haven't really looked back.
So, yeah, you've always sort of had this business mindset then. You've always we have a program in England, it's called Only Fools and Horses, where he buys something cheap and he sells it more expensive. That's sort of been you've always had that inside of you, yeah?
Exactly. I mean, I think the perfect example is when I was 15, I was still in high school and we went on a family holiday to Japan and I uncovered these headphones, which allowed you to, you could essentially put in the actual headphones into a resonator and it became a speaker. So I managed to get it into one of the larger chains, but they only put it in one store to test it. So what happened was they bought about 20% of my stock, they put it in, but the stock wasn't really moving. So what I figured out was the price that I sold the goods to them for and the margin I made was actually equal to what it would cost me if I just bought them all back. So over the next 2 weeks, I ended up buying all the stock back, and they ended up rolling it out across all their stores. So that was, at quite a young age, but it's very similar to what I'm doing now, I guess. Just on a slightly larger scale with a bit more technology.
Well, before we start each episode of So You Want to Sell on eBay, we always like to ask our guests to tell us about one person that's made a real difference in their life. Someone with such an impact on you that sort of helped you get where you are today. So, Nick, tell us, who's your impact person?
To date, I think my biggest impact person has been the boss of the venture capital fund that I used to work for, Mark Carnegie. So when first meeting Mark, my selling on eBay, as you know, Ali, was really a hobby, and I'd stumbled on a pretty good product, which was the base of me doing well. But it was really, I'd sell, a high value purchase. I'd make a fairly good amount of money out of each purchase. I'd only need to sell 5 to 10 in a week, and that's what I'd make that my mates had to go and work a few days a week part-time to earn. So I was pretty happy, but it was really him that said, you're really not utilizing this to its full capacity, in which I went and did a bit more market research and really realized that he was right and kind of shifted into the higher volume, lower price product, which turned the company around. In the next month, we ended up turning over what we did in the previous year. And 12 months later, we sold the most amount of jewelry on eBay in Australia. So,
wow.
It was really, and even throughout, further on after that first year when we started launching ICE, it's been some pretty crucial points along the way where he's asked the right probing questions that I've just gone, you know what, you're right. And every time he seems to ask that question, we seem to double our business. So.
Yeah, that had to be a really good feeling to be able to go to that to your boss and talk to him about this, and him be able to share his knowledge with you on that to help you get to the next level.
Exactly.
And also to have that mindset to actually realize, that maybe he's right, willing to listen to what he says, and then put it into action and try it yourself. I mean, it's your part as well in that.
You always listen to people that are a lot smarter than you, which is most people.
I'm listening to you, Ron.
Right. Well, I appreciate that, Ali. I don't know what I put in the Kool-Aid, maybe, but I'll keep feeding it to you. All right, Nick. Well, we do know now a little bit more about you. Let's take a look at your journey to and through eBay now, because obviously we know you've had great success with eBay. But we're going to dig in now, and we're going to see how it all happened, because we want to hear of your failures and your successes. Our listening audience needs to know that you've been where they are, and there is good news for them if they're determined. So we all know that success rarely comes before failure. So, Nick, if you would, tell us in great detail of a particular failure that happened on your journey that may have had you second-guess whether or not you should continue pursuing your eBay business.
I guess my failures were more tapping into certain products. So most of my supply comes from outside of Australia, and fairly large local suppliers and retailers, I guess, have kickback as to what we sell, and but in the end, you've got the support of eBay, and that's the main thing. I think the world is an open global market, and it will continue to become more and more global. And you go to the cheapest source of supply. So obviously, we want to deal with all of our local suppliers, but a lot of the time they don't want to deal with us, and we can buy product at better prices elsewhere. So I guess not so much the biggest failure, but more the biggest hurdle for us. That would be the biggest hurdle. Probably the biggest failure for us has been around shipment times out of America and fulfilling the local Australian eBay consumers, I guess, goals and expectations. So we ship product from New York, LA, Ohio, everywhere really in the States, all the way to Sydney, and then we express post it out through the local network. And no matter how well you explain it or how accurate you are in your listing, people always just want that better service, especially the eBay customer. So it's really just making sure that you can fulfill exactly what they expect.
So you're ordering like a year's worth of jewellery one time and shipping it in, and then once you have that, you're putting it onto eBay? Or
on some instances we do, on other instances we don't. Sometimes we have, we tap into ISIS supply in America, so they hold hundreds and thousands of products, and we know exactly what they've got in stock at every one time. So most of our sales comes through that, where we just order our stock as we sell it, and it comes straight from America to us and then out to our customer.
Sounds like a pretty complicated system that you seem to have all figured out now, right?
Yeah. No, we've got the logistics down, which I think is part of our selling proposition and allows us to do what we do. I mean, I think at the moment we have about 15,000 unique products on eBay, all of which we don't hold. We hold a select range of core products, but really it's probably like the 80-20 rule. 80% of the stuff we don't hold. So
that then you must run into a lot of shipping issues then.
Well, it depends. You got to have the right partners. You have to have the right partners who have accurate inventory, who have world-class fulfillment capabilities, who can ship it out as you order it and allow you to come through with the offering that you're promising. So if you handpick those partners of yours, it can be a strength, because then all your working capital isn't tied up in stock. It frees it up to, do what you want to spend money to grow your business.
No, it makes perfect sense. If you don't have to spend the money on it straight up front, and it's perfect sense.
Exactly.
Well, let's turn the tables now, Nick, and let's take a look at a particular success story then. Tell us of a win in great detail that reassured you that your eBay journey was heading in that right direction.
I think the biggest win and what was the most gratifying for me was once we do a lot of work with eBay directly, we're regularly on the homepage of eBay with, say, Valentine's Day promotions, Christmas promotions, eBay deals, group buys, etc. And also, it was about 12 months ago when eBay contacted us for a deal, and we went back with what we thought, well, just based on our selling over the last 12 months, we knew this was the best possible deal we could offer them. We ended up selling 500 units in 6 hours.
Wow.
For eBay. And it was also, last Wednesday we shipped out 750 products through
Incredible.
One eBay campaign. So it just shows, the power of the eBay customer. I think a lot of people discount eBay. They see it as, I guess, like a discount marketplace, but it's not true. If you go to the likes of yourself, Ali, and you build it in the right way, you can make it a very, very professional store to the point where people don't actually realize that they're on eBay. They feel like they're on your website, and it allows you to build brand equity. It's not just a place where people at home sell product anymore. It's a proper marketplace, and it's a new way it's a unique way where you pay after you sell to reach consumers, and people can't ignore it.
That's really amazing, Nick. So do you recommend going out you obviously set up a deal because you're obviously a big seller and they see it's worth their while as well, but for sort of an average Joe Blogs out there who's selling on eBay, you'd have to be at a certain level till you could make that deal or a deal or anything to get you on the homepage with eBay, would you?
Yeah, I think that was the indicator of my success on eBay. But it really took us 36 months to even get eBay to have any discussions with us, and we still did very well over that period of time. And it's really just, I think the people that do, the small people that do well on eBay are the ones who can find that sort of supply and that product that the big guys won't be able to get because the big guys are in everyone's face. And the big guys, the big brands who are protective of their brand, they won't give access to a big site because their retailers have such a fuss. Whereas a small guy out of his home or his garage can go and say, I know this product will be really hot just logically because I know there's such good demand for the consumer. They can scour the globe, find that person and do really, really well. So it's either, I think what does well on eBay is either obviously the support of eBay or it's purely just the right product at the right price. And I think a lot of people forget that.
Yeah. It sounds like a great opportunity for you and your store, for sure. But like you did say, it took 36 months of great success to get to that point. So it's not going to happen overnight. So if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're thinking, about starting an eBay business, just remember it's a get-rich-slow scheme, okay? It's not necessarily a get-rich-fast, but as you pointed out, Nick, if you sell the right product, you sold 500 in 6 hours. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
I would sell 500 of anything at $1 profit and be very, very happy, right?
With this deal that we ran last week, we sold 1,350 products in 12 hours.
Wow!
Amazing.
So and that was the dollar profit. But what it did was it drove a lot of traffic to our store, people that bought other things, people that have now gone through our process, have met us, are now comfortable with us, because to buy jewellery online, you want to trust the person, you want to know they're real. So it's all about how do you have that first interaction with someone.
Absolutely. And the other thing to that is, and again, to the listeners out there, a dollar profit 1,300 times is still $1,300, right? So you don't have to sell that one item for $1,300 because you might be sitting on that for quite some time. But the point is, if you sell a lot of something at a lower profit, you're still making a good profit.
For sure. I think that's the key on eBay. Like an eBay customer is, I guess, very price driven. And the cheapest stuff and the volume of the cheapest stuff works significantly better.
Sure. All right, Nick, well, now we've come to my favorite part of the interview, and it's called the wow moment. So if you would, tell us of a time in your journey when you had such a wow moment, a moment that was so instrumental to your success, and we may have already discussed this, that you knew you were on your way to a successful eBay business.
I think it's very similar to the success moment that I've discussed, and it's just being able to sell that sheer volume. You work really, really hard through your own site and to drive revenue. And whenever you're driving a sale through your own site, you're paying for every person that visits your site. Whereas this just shows the power of getting eBay right. People can do extremely well from eBay, and it's doing the basic things right. It's nothing groundbreaking. It's not, this attribution technology or this checkout funnel or this way of building a landing page. It's just purely the power of how many people are visiting the marketplace, and if you have the right product at the right price, it does remarkably well. And I think moving that sheer volume in that short amount of time really emphasised that to me.
Yeah, that's great information, Nick. Thank you for that.
Yeah. I mean, this is one reason that, we've interviewed a lot of people. It's one reason I said to Ron that I want to get you on this show, is just because it's the mindset behind you. It's the determination. It's the wanting to, we're going to make this work no matter what, listening to the advice and just going out there and proving that all of this is possible. Because to a lot of people, this isn't possible. They're selling the stuff on eBay. They're not really making a lot of money. But when we hear stories like yourself, Nick, it's just, anything is possible on eBay if you just have the right mindset and you just find that right product.
Yeah, you just have to be persistent.
Awesome, Nick. Our listeners come from all walks of life. We have the postman, fireman, hairstylists, you name it, Nick, they're listening to you right now. They want to hear what you, a successful eBay seller, did in your pre-eBay life. I mean, what jobs did you do before you sort of came to eBay? We've heard you started off at a company beforehand, but what was your path of jobs before it led you to this eBay empire of yours?
I washed cars.
Nice.
I was a very, very bad car washer. I didn't last that long. I worked at one of the large telecommunication companies, so in their retail stores, just fronting up to consumers, and it was good because we earned money primarily based on a commission, so I was pretty good at that. And then I played rugby, tried to become a professional rugby player for a couple of years while at university. So it really, after when I started to play rugby, because I didn't have that much spare time, it was really eBay that allowed me to keep in business and keep trading. So there weren't that many. Besides for also sleeping on the floor of my parents' retail jewellery shop, I guess that allowed me to learn here while I was sleeping, so telepathically learn about jewellery.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I pretty quickly got onto jewellery from an early age. I mean, there's some basic trading experiences that, like I mentioned in the first story, I wanted to be an investment banker. That didn't work because my uni marks weren't strong enough. Fortunately, that didn't work, I guess, and landed up here where I am now.
So did you think you chose jewellery because you were living in your jewellery shop and your parents did it? Or?
Yeah, that was the main reason why we started with jewellery, was that the supply arrangements worked and they already existed. So the key for that was they'd see me as my parents' son, who they'd be prepared to give a go before they'd go to one of the big flash sale sites, and that's how we got our source of supply originally. But now it's really, we're quite category agnostic because we have a really strong technology platform. We can get thousands of products live almost instantly. So we're launching a toy store. We launched perfume online. We're probably going to get into a few other different product verticals in the next 6 to 12 months. So it's really, I guess, jewelry is going really well for us, but it's, where else can we leverage our skill set to try and target some other product categories?
So do you customize jewelry? I mean, do you create the designs yourself, or is it just all bought?
No, so that's all sourced out of America. So ice.com take care of all of the design of the product. But they've got really, really extensive designs. So they'll make, one product in every different metal to target every different price point. So it's really up to us more, not to design the product, but to hand select the product to suit the Australian consumer.
It's now time for the lightning round, but before we do, let's thank our sponsors.
If you are an online merchant, chances are you've heard of Terapeak. Terapeak helps online merchants like you by providing in-depth analytics to help you pull back the curtain on your competitors' behavior, pricing techniques and strategies, supply and demand, category and product trends, and customer purchase patterns. Sound intense? It is. Terapeak is the leader in e-commerce market analysis, dedicated to helping online merchants grow their business and become more profitable. How cool would it be if you could know the new and emerging opportunities? Terapeak delivers market intelligence that is both meaningful and actionable. Terapeak analyzes over 2.4 billion transactions per year. How many of those will be yours next year? After all, if your competitors see the value in Terapeak, shouldn't you? Go to www.soyouwannasellonebay.com/Terapeak to sign up today.
Here's where we'll ask you a series of questions, Nick, and it's your chance to answer the questions as you care to. You can answer the questions quickly or as elaborate as you want. What was your biggest fear of starting an eBay business?
Failure. I think failure is the biggest concern for anyone. Public failure, but it doesn't matter. In the end, you just gotta. If you're persistent, you play the numbers game. It'll all work out.
How do you get past that fear?
Persistence. Eventually, one comes off, and you look back on it, and you realize that your failures weren't actually that great, and they shouldn't have deterred you as much as they did at the time. So it really puts everything to perspective.
What's one piece of advice you'd give someone just starting an eBay business that they could really benefit from?
The right product. Really do your research as to, what are the big retailers selling, what's in the market at the moment, what are a lot of the marketing messages behind, what's everyone talking about. And a lot of the time those products aren't on eBay, and just trying to find, your own source of supply to start selling them.
If given the chance to start all over with your eBay business, knowing what you know now about eBay and running a business, what one thing would you do differently?
Start small. Don't spend too much money on technology early. Stick with the basic platforms to sell product because they're really powerful in themselves. But acknowledge your limitations when you're starting to grow and scope the technology out in the right way and spend the right amount of money, because in the end it becomes your core. If your technology is not powerful enough, it's gonna really handicap your ability to grow.
When you started your eBay business, how much confidence did you have you could really make money? I mean, much less actually make a living out of it.
Zero. It was more I was being told that it will work, and I didn't have much confidence that it would work. But after selling 10 products and going, oh, actually this is pretty good, I made some pretty good money out of this, I quickly realized that we were onto something.
That's a common theme, everyone. So when you're out there listening, you heard Nick say that, there's little confidence at start here. So you have to work on the little things and get those right. And then once you do that, your eBay business will do better. So, Nick, what is your take on free shipping? I mean, some people offer it and some don't, and sometimes it depends on the item, the price of the item, and sometimes, even a $3 item offers free shipping, and I guess those guys just cost average. What is your take on free shipping?
We offer free shipping on eBay because whenever we run eBay promotions, we need to offer free shipping, and eBay rank products a lot better through their best match algorithm that have free shipping. So through eBay, I'd say you should try and offer free shipping. Those cheaper products that have free shipping, a lot of them you'll find they're not sending them out through the normal postage methods. They're able to send it out through an envelope or regular post, and it's significantly cheaper. So these are products potentially like our earrings that we make the dollar on, but we're prepared to make the dollar on to drive that volume through our store. So yeah, I would recommend free shipping on eBay, but I wouldn't recommend losing money. There's no point.
Yeah, no, there's definitely no point in that, yeah. What actions do you have to take away negative feedback? I mean, we obviously know feedback's really important, and a lot of people go to any lengths to, try to keep that 100%, but if you get negative feedback, let's say your shipping's slow or something like that, I mean, what do you do to get that reversed? Do you bother, or do you just sort of work with the customer?
Yeah, we try. We do bother. We've got 15,000 feedback now, so negative feedback is inevitable, and I'm not as emotional about it as I used to be. With that said, I think a lot of eBay customers are very strong behind a username. And once you make a simple phone call to the customer, just with more of an inquiry phone call as to, the customer service has flagged that you've had a bad experience and you're more interested in that bad experience and trying to fix it next time, and call them to ask for advice rather than to ask them to remove the negative feedback. I think I have a 95% success rate of getting those removed, just once I have a general conversation with the customer about how I can improve. And then at the end of the call saying, would you mind removing the feedback? And obviously next time we'll keep you more up to date, or we'll communicate with you better, or whatever it may be. Also, sometimes a way to remove it is just to have these little freebies, the ones that you make $1 margin on. You can just send as an apology. A lot of the time that works. Very
nice. Very, very, very good idea, actually. So, Nick, what research did you do to confirm your niche products would sell on eBay? Obviously, you're putting your products out there, and you want to make sure they're going to sell. What research do you do?
I guess the main bit of research is to actually look at the products within that category, seeing how many people are watching products, how many people are buying products, what products are hot. I mean, eBay gives you that information just from a general search at the moment. So there's that, and then also obviously the TerraPeak tool is very valuable to see what categories are good, what are doing well, where the gaps exist.
And finally, what tools do you use for eBay business? I mean, what's your average day-to-day tools that sort of help you manage, obviously, the orders or manage listing products, stuff like that?
We're on Magento. We're built on Magento, which I'd recommend to everyone for eBay. It's really, really powerful. I mean, Ali would know. We'll get 6,000 products live in a matter of hours just because we understand how the modules work. What other tools we use? We quickly use the thermal printer to stop paying ridiculous prices for ink. It'll add a lot of value in the long run. We use TerraPeak a little bit, less so now, but more when we were smaller, just to see what our competitors are doing. And then we also try and structure our titles for eBay around what people are looking for. So if you go onto eBay and you start searching for, Nike shoes, eBay will, I guess, recommend within your search bar what, other options that you can select as that search. And that's a lot of the time what people are actually looking for. So you want to try to have those words consecutively in your titles. Put a bit of thought into, does your title, does your description actually match what people are looking for? Because in the end, you're only as powerful as how well eBay rank you, and it's a bit of an art, but it's worthwhile because it's like SEO for eBay.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worthwhile, and I imagine it's so important. And it's great to see that you actually invest that time into checking that sort of stuff. It's really good. Well, that's the end of the lightning round time, and it's actually time to say goodbye to our guest here. We'd like to thank our special guest, Nick Molnar, for taking the time to come join us today and also share with you your unbelievable experience. I mean, I'm personally really happy that you could take the time to come, Nick. As always, I always pick up good business advice, and it's really good having you here.
I know we're not the only ones that are going to benefit from this interview, Nick. Our listeners are going to be really happy that we brought you on here, so we appreciate your time.
No problem at all.
We will post the notes of today's interview on our show notes page, which can be found at www.soyouwantasellonebay.com/show-notes/Nick. But before you go, Nick, please tell our listeners who are out there driving in their cars or jogging down the road, I mean, how can they find you? What's the best way to contact you?
To contact me, the best way is probably through eBay. Our username is IceOnlineAU. Happy to help out. Just refer to me and the message, and happy to assist in whatever way I can.
Well, thanks again, Nick, for all your great help, and we wish you continued success. For everyone here at So You Want to Sell on eBay, I'm Ali Young.
And I'm Ron LeBeau.
So you're wondering how you can grow your business yet your website is currently being hosted by one of those website-in-a-box sites. Or maybe you don't have a website. Well, if you're really serious about growing your business, then maybe it's time to get serious about who is hosting your website. Bluehost is your answer. At Bluehost, you get complete hosting solutions for as little as $4.95 per month. And while that is inexpensive, it certainly is not cheap. You get unlimited domain hosting, unlimited space, unlimited bandwidth, and much more. Bluehost has the top-rated 24/7 support team of real experts ready to offer real solutions and advice. And if that weren't enough, at Bluehost, you will never sign a contract. Go to www.soyouwantasellonebay.com/Bluehost today and take your business to a whole new level.
Well, that's a wrap to another awesome show. Don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes at SoYouWannaSellOnEBay.com/iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at Your eBay Podcast and Facebook at So You Want to Sell on eBay. And we can always be found at www.soyouwantasellonebay.com. SellOnEBay.com.